So it's Monday, 24th of August. There is a lot of talk about a global reset in the economy. Still talking about COVID. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of truth. And the only way that I can work with what I think is coming up is to use the visions that I've been given, because I see into the future, and I've been seeing a lot of things since 2015. So using what I've been shown and then looking up what people are talking about, looking up the information that they are providing and trying to put the two together. So I'm just going to try and do a bit of an update with what I feel is coming up. With the COVID, I felt like in July that we were going to be, this is especially for Australia because I'm normally focused on what's happening in Australia. I felt like we were coming through the COVID in July, but what I cannot do is I cannot predict the free will of people. So if you're told to stay home and you're told to protect yourself and you're told to wear a mask and you choose not to, then I can't predict the timeline of when things will happen because you've gone and changed the timeline yourself. You've gone and forced something to happen by the choices that you're making. So if everyone had have stayed home and had have listened the first time around, the second wave in Victoria especially wouldn't have happened. But that's something I can't predict. And I always say that in all readings, I can't predict the free will of people. But I did feel like it was coming. Well, it should have been coming to an end in July, but what they are doing now in Victoria is working, and it felt like September that they would be able to get back into opening up some places again and getting back into, living again. What has been playing out a lot with me lately is the guides keep telling me to keep looking up more information about NESARA and GESARA, which is the world reset of the money system. So back in 2015, the guides were telling me that in the future money would not be known in the future as it is known today. That's what they were giving me in 2015. And I was sharing this privately with people who were saying, it can't happen. You can't get rid of money. But my guides were insistent that this was coming. And I didn't have all the answers on how it was coming. But as this is unfolding, and I've read more into it, it seems to line up with what they were telling me back in 2015. So if you haven't looked it up, it's not a new thing. NESARA, which is like their national economy, security, assets, and I can't remember what it meant, but it was a national thing that was created in America in the 1940s, and it was going to be brought about by JFK, John F. Kennedy, and he was assassinated. So it wasn't brought into fruition. It then again was going to be brought in when the Bush administration was in, and September 11 happened. It was also going to come in with Clinton, and it was also squashed again. So this time Trump is trying to bring it in. So it's not a conspiracy of some new financial system that's just been invented. It has been around since the 1940s. They just haven't been able to get it implemented. There is documents everywhere. You can look them up. It is a thing. It's not a conspiracy, but whether or not it will actually come into play that's the big question. Because my guides have shown me there would be a new money system and our lives would be different. A lot of spiritual people are seeing and feeling that there is like a new world. So without the actual details, they are sensing the new world, a new way of people living. And there is also the evidence that economists and a lot of people are talking about with the Ripple ASX and the Bitcoin and the way that we are heading with the economy. So what I can gather from what I've read about NISARA, which is the national system, and GISARA, which is global, because there's apparently 209 countries that have signed up to join this, Australia included. It apparently will abolish all debt. So if you have a mortgage, a credit card, and you have personal debt, it'll be abolished in this system. We all start fresh on a clean slate. Apparently, we will all be given a large amount of money to start with, so like $1 million for each person over the age of 18. There is no more tax on your work. The health systems would be free. There's a list of 20 things. If you want to look up NISARA and GISARA, you can actually read everything that will be coming into alignment if they can get this system working, because it sounds like an amazing system. There is a few questions that like my logical mind is coming into about this. If we all had no debt and we all had $1 million in the bank, and every time we went to work, whatever you earned at work had no tax on it, so you could save that. So you weren't paying stuff off. I do believe there would be a hell of a lot of really, really happier people in this world, because there would be no stress about money. If you had no stress, it would be like everybody winning the lotto. But the thing that does concern me is if we are in that position, why would people want to go and do jobs like cleaning toilets or working in a sewage plant or just doing jobs that are not enjoyable? If people had enough money and they never had to worry about money and they could work from a passion, who would do those jobs? So I'm sure that if they've gone through this system, like why would a dairy farmer get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to milk his cows and struggle all day, working hard, if there was not some bigger reward for him for what he was doing? Although you do question now that people do that now. Farmers do struggle now, and they still keep doing it. Why haven't they given up from doing it? So my question is, are people going to work from a passion from within? So a farmer is absolutely passionate about what he's growing, what he's doing, and not concerned about the money. Would somebody still want to go and clean toilets and be a cleaner and do hard labour work because they were passionate about that? So that's what about the people that want to just lay around on the lounge all day and not work at all? Is there going to be, because in this new system there is no taxation, so there is no Centrelink anymore, so there will be no handouts, like regular handouts for somebody that's not working. They would get their $1 million to start with. What they do with it? What if they wasted the whole lot? What happens to them then? Is there a regular? Do they have to work? Like, do they just get paid to sit at home? And I know, I'd say 97% of people would not enjoy just sitting at home every single day. You want to do something, you want to be creative. So if you had the money, you would create your own jobs, you create your own business, something that you've always wanted to do. So I think the creativity in people will be better because you're not worrying about money. And then I thought about, I suppose if you just wanted to lay on the lounge and collect money and not be creative, I suppose that's a choice. That's a personal choice where you might be one of the 3% in the world that choose to do that. I don't know. Someone who is, I think what it will do is eradicate the need to steal, because if everybody has money and no one is without, there is nobody going to be stealing anything anymore. So there is also, what they also said was we were all supposed to have an account set up, well, like a quantum banking account, and it is linked worldwide. So if I transferred money out of my account into your account, it's totally traceable. So somebody in the other side of the world that tried to take money out of my account, they can't do that anymore. So there would be no more cyber crime. Well, then no more where it's all traceable. All the money linked to all the accounts is traceable. So the information that I have looked up and has been verified is you would all have no debt. You would all have money in your accounts. You would all be paid regularly and not have to pay tax. There would be free health. What else? What else did they say? Oh, there is 6,000 painted ideas that have been suppressed. And when this new system comes in, they will be released, and they are around having free energy and anti-gravity and healing. There's a sonic healing. Apparently this has already been created. It's never been allowed to be used for whatever reason. This is where I question things like, why would not this be allowed to be used unless pharmaceutical companies decided that they were going to lose all their money. But there is a sonic machine that scans the body and can pick up wherever there's disease, and it can repair organs. So there's 6,000 patented ideas that apparently will be released at the same time. Now, that's just what I've read. It's just an opinion. But when I put it with what my guides have given me, it kind of makes sense that they've always been showing me that there would be a new money system, or we wouldn't have to worry about money like we have in the past. And this ties in with what I've been shown. I also felt like the date of September the 22nd has been told to me, flashed to me like in a vision. There seems to be something happening around September the 22nd, and November, which is around the time of the US elections. I've just looked at the clock and it's 11:11. Around the time of the election, I felt like Trump would not be re-elected in. Biden won't be re-elected in. I've not seen anybody get elected in. And I was sitting there thinking, like, why? They can't have a country that is leaderless. They can't have that. So somebody would have to step in. So why am I being shown that there is no leader? I actually heard another psychic the other day, I think she was from Florida. She said exactly the same thing. She said, someone asked her who's going to win the election, and she said, I don't see Trump getting in and I don't see Biden getting in. She said the same as me, and I thought, well, that's interesting. We're both seeing the same thing. I also kept seeing what I felt was the death of, I didn't know if it was the death of a president. So I was trying to think, is Trump going to die or is Biden going to die? And that's why there is no leader for a while. But when you go back to this NESARA and GESARA, it states that when the system comes in, the president steps down. He chooses to step down. Then they wait for 120 days and a new president is elected because they have changed the system of voting. The system of voting will change as well. So maybe that's why I'm seeing that there is no leader for that particular time, because the system has come in and he steps down. That may be, I don't know. I'm just trying to work out what I've been shown as visions, trying to work out what I'm reading, and then putting the two together. I was also informed the other day that there is an asteroid apparently heading towards Earth, and that's due to hit in November as well. And I think in my predictions that I did last year, I felt there was something coming to Earth that would hit the Earth, shift it off the axis, and change something in the magnetic setup. So unless they're all going to be combined, I know there's a few people that are worried that we're going to have another war. I have not been shown that. I know there's people worried about the 5G, and I have not been shown that there is any problems with that. I've been told people are worried about vaccines and what's in the vaccines, and I don't feel at all panicked by the vaccine at all. If they came out with a vaccine for COVID and it was been tested, I would be happy to have that. I don't feel like my guides are saying to me, don't go and get that. So there's some things that I don't get a warning for and I don't get fear from, and other things that I'm thinking, this makes sense. What I've been shown for the last 5 years is sort of making a lot of sense. Of course, you always need proof. When anything is changing, you're going to be skeptical. You'll nitpick everything because you can only see things the way that your mind knows how to see them. And I'm the same. I like to investigate. I'm not saying any of this is fact. I'm just sharing that what I've been given in visions and what is unfolding in reality around us seems to be lining up. The other day on the news in Australia, there was 9,000 ATMs removed. Not really any reason given why they were removed. Somebody told me the other day they walked into a bank in a country town in South Australia, and they were told that there would not be tellers anymore, so the banks are not needing tellers. In my own town where I live, the banks have been shutting a lot earlier and the staff aren't there. It kind of has that feeling like the bank is going to be closing, so you can't actually access it. It'll all be done online. The robo-debt, which was the Centrelink debt, anybody that owed money to Centrelink through robo-debt has all been cancelled. So they've said that's due to COVID or there was an error, but is that due to the changing in these systems? For a long time, I saw the banks. I saw one major bank closing and then the other banks following. I always felt like Westpac would be the one that would close first. I didn't know why, and it felt to me like it was more around corruption. In America, people that have had student loans have had them cancelled. One person rang up and said, well, I had a $150,000 loan, where's it gone? And they just said, it's gone, it's wiped, you're clean, you don't have to pay anything back. There wasn't really an explanation given to them, which made them very happy. I've heard of people with credit card debt that has been cleared. They when rang up and said, I thought I owed this much money on my credit card, they've been told, no, it's clear, you've got a zero balance, it's all been paid. I even heard of someone just in the last 2 weeks that had got a call from the bank to say you need to ring them back, and when they rang them back, they said, you've got a $400 credit sitting on a card balance. And they said, no, I'm paying off that credit card. And they said, no, there's a zero balance. You've been paying into it now and it's got a credit. So the credit was refunded and everything was cancelled out. So there is evidence popping up with debts that are being wiped. And, there's an awful lot unfolding at the moment. I had a feeling there's a lot of psychics and a lot of people that work with energy that have still had a bit of a dreaded feeling like there is something else still coming. Maybe it's the confusion because I think when you're changing a whole system from the way it was, into the way it's going to be, that can bring up so much fear because people won't know. They won't know what to do with it, won't know how to handle it. And I think they've got to be very, very cautious the way they bring this in. It's apparently it's already in. The system is in and it's working parallel with the banks, because when you start reading into the whole banking system and how it's all, obviously it's owned by the one bank of the world, which is the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, who have manipulated the system for as long as you can remember. We've been done over for so long. Like, our lives are all about, we do everything to get money just to live, don't we? Who's really, really enjoying life? Like, who's just really enjoying what they're doing without having to pay for something or get something? And, could you imagine the relief of people if they'd never had to worry about money? And how it would stimulate the economy to go back out and give to other people, and you could be doing the job you've always wanted to do and doing it from a passion rather than having to work. So I think it's really interesting times. I'm really interested to see how this is unfolding. I felt like it's still going to take till 2025 before things are clear to us, but it is coming in stages, and I have a very strong feeling that this money system that they have been talking about will come in, and because it's been shown to me for so long. So it's such an interesting time to be alive, hey? Love to hear your comments.